Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, which is entitled as Sannyasa Yoga. Sloka 9. Kāryam ityeva yat karma niyataṁ kriyate Arjuna saṅgaṁ tyaktvā phalaṁ caiva tyāgaḥ sāttviko mataḥ. In Sloka 7, we learned about tamasa tyāgaḥ, where a person who is in tamoguna performs a tyāgaḥ to give up the prescribed duties, nitya naimittika karma, thinking that dharma is actually adharma. He has that wrong understanding because of the delusion. The delusion is because of mode of ignorance, tamoguna. And in Sloka 8, we learnt about rajasa tyāgaḥ, where a person who is in rajoguna gives up the karmas, nitya naimittika karma, thinking that it is very expensive and it brings discomfort to the body. That is because of the rajasa guna. Now, in this verse, we will learn about sāttvika tyāgaḥ, performed by those people who are in sāttvika guna. Let's be clear on one thing. Though it is mentioned tamasa tyāgaḥ, rajasa tyāgaḥ, sāttvika tyāgaḥ, though they are sounding same as tyāgaḥ, but they are not the same tyāgaḥ. We may tend to understand that due to tamoguna one gives up their karma, due to rajoguna one gives up their karma, and likewise due to sattvaguna one gives up karma. This is how we may think, but that's not right. Due to tamoguna one gives up karma, correct? Due to rajoguna one gives up karma, correct? Due to sattvaguna one gives up karma phalaṁ, not karma. The first two, that is tamasa and rajasa tyāgaḥ, involves giving up of the activities itself, whereas in the sāttvika tyāgaḥ it is not giving up of activities but giving up of the three kinds of tyāgaḥ: kartritva tyāgaḥ, mataḥ tyāgaḥ, and phalaṁ tyāgaḥ. So there is no renunciation of activity in sāttvika tyāgaḥ. All activity should be performed, unlike tamoguna and rajoguna, where they give up the activities itself. So let's make sure that this point is very clear going forward. Now let's learn the meaning of the sloka. O Arjuna, niyataṁ karma, the nitya and naimittika karmas, saṅgaṁ, possessiveness. I am the doer and this is my action. Phalaṁ caiva, and the result. Tyaktvā eva, only by giving up. Kāryam ityeva, this has got to be done. Yat kriyate, whatever is performed. Tyāgaḥ, that tyāgaḥ, renunciation. Sāttviko, in the mode of goodness. Mataḥ, is accepted in my opinion. O Arjuna, when one performs this prescribed duty only because it ought to be done, and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. Though this verse only mentions saṅgaṁ and phalaṁ, that is mataḥ tyāgaḥ and phalaṁ tyāgaḥ, nevertheless we have to derive the third tyāgaḥ, kartritva buddhi tyāgaḥ, as well. Niyataṁ karma means those activities which are allotted for particular class and station in life, that is as per varna ashrama dharma. When we study niyataṁ karma, we should not wrongly think there is also something called aniyataṁ karma. niyataṁ or prescribed, aniyataṁ or unprescribed duties. There's nothing like that. In Vedas, whatever has been mentioned are all prescribed duties only. As one performs their karma, it should satisfy two criteria. Number one, mentioned in the scriptures, and those karmas which are pleasing to the Lord. Because there are karmas not necessarily is going to please the Lord. For example, Senayaga, which is meant to destroy one's enemy. Just because it is mentioned in the scripture, it is not mandatory that one must perform that. Then one may ask a question, why even such things are there in the Vedas? Vedas does cater for different kinds of people to gradually bring them into mode of goodness. We have addressed this question even in the past chapter. So, karma should satisfy, number one, mentioned in the scriptures that pleases the Lord. Number two, that which is mentioned should be done as an offering to the Lord. When one does the karma, the activities, only for the sake of doing as duty, as an offering to the Lord, while doing with the full understanding that this is for the satisfaction of the Lord. This is an aradhana, worship to the Lord. For example, if we are chanting but not having any connection to the chanting, then what is the use? As we chant, we need to know this is Lord's sweet names. At least that understanding should be there. I am chanting for His satisfaction. His holy names are pure and it will purify my consciousness to develop unalloyed bhakti. When one continues to perform sāttvika tyāgaḥ, it develops yathavastita jnana, to see things as it is, gives right knowledge, to see, perceive things correctly, by which one will know what is the right thing to be done and what is the wrong thing not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating. This will be covered more in details later in this chapter. Now, after hearing this, Arjuna felt that he understood what is sāttvika tyāgaḥ. Then he jumped up and said to Krishna, I will perform sāttvika tyāgaḥ, thinking that he must be performing some yaga, yajna, dhana, dharma. But Krishna immediately said, well, that's very good. Go and fight. That is your karma. But while fighting, don't say that this yuddham is yours. You are going to recover, obtain the kingdom. You are holding the Gandiva bow. Think that I did not fight. It is Krishna who made me fight, making me as an instrument. This action is not mine, it's Krishna's, who has engaged me in his service. The result that I am going to obtain by fighting is not mine, it's Krishna's. I am just doing this for the sake of doing to please Krishna, that's all. When you do your duty in this way, Arjuna, then it is said to be sāttvika tyāgaḥ. Arjuna had a question which arose from his previous learnings, from what Krishna said about nitya naimitika karma, the obligatory and occasional duties. One incurs sin by giving up their dharma, both nitya and naimitika karmas. This will surely bring punishment from the Lord. To avoid the punishment, at least, these acts needs to be performed as remediation. Is that right, Krishna? Krishna said, well, yes, but go ahead, complete your question before I can respond to it. Then Arjuna said, when we say like this, that one must perform the duties. If fail to do duties, they will get punished. To avoid the punishment, one must do the duty. That means we are expecting a result by our action to escape from the sins, from the punishment, which we will incur by not doing our karmas. In that case, how can we say we have done phalaṁ? Can you please help me understand this, Krishna? Now let us make sure we understand Arjuna's question. Let me repeat it. By performing one's karma, one will not get any punishment. One will not get sins. By not performing, one will get punished. Therefore, one must perform their nitya naimittika karma to avoid any sinful reaction. That means we are expecting some result out of our action. That result is to escape from the punishments, from the papa karma. That means we are really not doing phalaṁ. The answer for this question can be found in Sripad Ramanujacharya's commentaries on this verse. Over there he mentioned, when these actions are performed, practiced, they should be performed as worship of Krishna. That should be our mentality. Not that we want to remove our sin or avoid and escape from the sins. When we perform our karmas as an offering, as an worship to Krishna, the removing of sins by performing nitya naimittika karma happens automatically. It follows on its own. But that is not a primary important reason why we want to do our duties. At least that should not be the mentality for those who are practicing Krishna consciousness, those who want to develop love towards Godhead. So, we should not undertake any of these actions so that I can prevent any sins that may occur. Instead, we should think, resolve, contemplate to do these actions only for the satisfaction of Krishna. We should not eat prasadam because it is karma free. Though it is true by itself, but one should honor the prasadam because it is tasted by Krishna. It is Krishna prasadam. Likewise, we should not chant because it will remove all the sins, which is true. But as a devotee, we should not be chanting concerning about removal of sins. Rather, we chant because it's Krishna's holy names. We should not fast on special days like Ekadeshi, thinking that it will reduce my weight, which is true. But the devotees will think, I fast on Ekadeshi because that pleases Krishna. Ekadeshis are very special, and the Lord was pleased seeing us performing austerity on this special day will bless us with more strength to perform more austerity. Again, to address the question, yes, those benefits are secondary. Removing of sins by performing nitya naimittika karma, etc. But the principal primary reason why one must be doing their karma is to please Krishna. Perform their karma as an worship of Krishna. Therefore, a person who performs sāttvika tyāgaḥ is doing phalaṁ. He is not into the program of trying to remove any sinful reactions. He does for the pleasure of the Lord. To summarize, what is sāttvika tyāgaḥ? When a person undertakes their obligatory and occasional actions, that is nitya karma and naimittika karma, they should be performed without a sense of agency, possessiveness, and ownership of the fruit, which are known as kartritva buddhi tyāgaḥ, mamata tyāgaḥ, phala tyāgaḥ. These constitute sāttvika tyāgaḥ. Karma undertaken along with these three kinds of tyāgaḥ alone considered to be karma performed in sāttvika tyāgaḥ. Whereas in tamasa tyāgaḥ and rajasa tyāgaḥ, there is no question of these three things, kartritva tyāgaḥ, mamata tyāgaḥ, phala tyāgaḥ, because they give up the karma itself, activities itself. Then where is the question of thinking, I am not the doer, this is not mine, I don't expect result? In the next verse, Krishna gives the characteristic of one who performs karmas with sāttvika tyāgaḥ. kāryam ityeva yat karma niyataṁ kriyate rjuna saṅgaṁ tyaktvā phalaṁ caiva tyāgaḥ sāttviko mataḥ. Namaste. Hare Krishna.